8:30 Pacific. More breaking news for you here on First Take. Tom Brady has reached an agreement with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 4-year contract extension that voids to a 1-year extension. Sources tell ESPN the deal ties Brady to Tampa through the 2022 season. And the move saves the Bucs $19 million against the cap this year. The additional voidable years are there to defray the cost. It was another effort from Brady to keep as much of the team together as possible, what he always did in New England. Look who's here, Tim Hasselbeck. Great to have our quarterback here to weigh in on this. But Tim, I'm going to start with Cliff Kellerman. Cliff, what do you think of this?
Well, first of all, however much it is, Tom Brady's earned every penny. I mean, I didn't think it was out of the question that they could win a Super Bowl because the team was so stacked. But I thought he would be along for the ride, a game manager, and he was clearly more than that. He threw 40 touchdowns last year. He was still excellent, and he proved his point that it was the lack of weapons in New England. He's still got it, and he's worth every penny, whatever that is. Now, I don't think it's coincidental that the GOAT, Tom Brady, has always allowed the team to kick the can down the road to get cap relief so that they could afford to put a team around him. It's very smart of him. Now, I'm not saying every player should follow that example. Almost no one will ever play, maybe never, as late as he did at this level, right? Who's going to play 20-plus years in the NFL? Not many are going to be married to a super rich spouse. You know, I get that he has circumstances and also he's had longevity where he's benefited from all this. That's not going to be everyone. But when the owners brought in the salary cap, they really did pose this question to players, essentially. How much do you want and how much do you want to win? Because those two things sometimes are at odds. And Tom Brady has always been the best at providing the team with relief at his own short-term financial expense, though obviously it's worked out for him in the long run.
He's determined to play through the age of 45. I don't think that he'll play the next 4 years, but I think this guarantees that he's going to complete his mission of playing up until the age of 45. He turns 44 on August 3rd, so that means he'll play next season at the age of 44. The following season, he'll turn 45. He'll complete those 2 years. In the meantime, he gave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers cap relief, which enables them to keep, for the most part, the players that they had in play. I don't think it's an accident why they franchised Godwin as opposed to Shaq Barrett. Why? Because Godwin is the one that Tom Brady is throwing the football to. Y'all figure out what the hell y'all gonna do on defense, but you make sure that our offensive weapons that I have available to me remains elite and intact, and that's exactly what he's doing here. And so when you look at it from that perspective and what he's enabled the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to do, that's what it is about the 4-year extension. It's not to say that they're gonna throw him away to the trash in year 3 or 4, because that's all going to be contingent on how he's playing. But what they've done is they've made a commitment to him, because he's worthy of that commitment, that we want you here as long as you want to be here. So he has the level of security that, quite frankly, he didn't get in the latter years in New England. He ain't wondering or guessing or anything like that. He's in Tampa, Florida. It's the Sunshine State. The weather in South Florida is beautiful. On top of all of that, it's a tax. There's no state income taxes there. His money goes a long way. He's got Derek Jeter's mansion, unless he's moved someplace else that I don't know about. There's a separate room for Antonio.
Might as well buy it at this point. Not rent it anymore.
There's a separate room for Antonio Brown if he wants that too, because Antonio Brown is going to be even better next year than he was this year, assuming that he still stays there. You still got Godwin. You got Evans. You got O.J. Howard coming back. You still got Brady.
They're going to get better.
Gronkowski's probably coming back as well. You look at the pieces that they have in place. He's basically saying, my boys, we all won this Super Bowl together and we handled our business. I'm going to do what I can to keep us in play, while at the same time securing that if I want to be here, there's absolutely no problem with me being here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers made that commitment. He deserves it. I'm happy for him.
There's no question that we can all look at Tom Brady and realize that, especially towards the end of his time in New England, he took less than a fair market deal because there was a desire, or at least a thought, that the team would then put good players around him to compete for a championship every single year. Well, in New England, that trust seemed like it was broken, and I think that this extension signals that he trusts Tampa Bay to do exactly what he thought New England would do when he took under a fair market deal. Think about this. He signs a 2-year, $50 million contract with Tampa last year. That's actually a worse deal than the deal Phillip Rivers signed with the Colts a year ago. Phillip Rivers was a 1-year, $25 million deal, and then he was going to be free again. Like, think about, like, for a second, he signed a worse deal than Phillip Rivers a year ago, and now he's signing a deal that I think we probably would all agree gives them a ton of relief, and it gives them the opportunity, whether it's Shaq Barrett, whether it's Gronk, whether it's Antonio Brown, whether it's somebody at the running back position. Like what it's done is it's essentially given Brady the assurance that, hey, we're going to give you another shot at this to go win another one.
But let me answer that, and then, Stephen, I want to answer something that you said. I think that Belichick, the reason Brady left in retrospect is not that Belichick, well, I mean, they all spend the same amount of money, more or less. It's that he was spending it on the defense. Resources were going to the defense, and that seemed to reflect a belief that maybe Brady was declining and unable to carry a team and had to rely on the running game and the defense more. And I think that's probably what irked Brady, because you see the Bucs investing in the offense. But I want to say something about the offense, Stephen A. In fact, when you look at the receivers, Godwin is actually the expendable one. He's young, he's already very good, but AB, if he's firing on all cylinders, is in the best of all time conversation. And Evans is probably the next best receiver on the team when you're not talking about the tight ends who can also catch passes, right? And then Scotty Miller's really the burner. He's really the speed guy. So Godwin is the one that they haven't committed to. They franchise him, but they haven't committed to. And Shaq Barrett, they're having contract negotiations with.
They are having contract negotiations with him, but I would remind you, even though we lamented the fact that Chris Godwin dropped a couple of passes, in the latter part of the season, or particularly in the playoffs, for the most part, he wasn't really dropping passes. He was a reliable weapon for them. You moved him to the slot to some degree. He was at 24 years of age, considered the kind of things that he has that kind of potential of. I'm sorry, I don't view Chris Godwin as the most expendable one at all, considering his youth and his skill set and what he brings to the table, and the fact that Brady spoke so glowingly about him. This is a target that when you talk about Brady being here for the next 2, 3, possibly 4 years.
What about the team, though? They franchised him for a reason. I think they think, it seems to me they think maybe this guy can be great. He's not there yet. Let me see it 24. First before we give him the contract.
24.
Yeah, I think part of the reason you franchise him too, it's like, you maybe feel like whatever you think the market is for Shaq Barrett because of what his path in the NFL has been, versus how you view the league viewing Chris Godwin. The other aspect of it is it's hard for Chris Godwin to be upset on the franchise tag when the sell to him can be, look, you're going to get another year with Tom Brady. We understand you want a long-term deal, but you're a young player. You get another year with Tom Brady, catch over 100 balls and have double-digit touchdowns. Like, you're not in a bad situation right now. I think it's a pretty easy sell to keep a player happy to be on the franchise tag.
Yeah, the point is now, though, that when you look at the Bucs, usually Super Bowl winners are going to lose a lot of guys. In fact, partly because of what Brady just did, they might not really lose anyone significant. And as you said, Stephen A., O.J. Howard, do you remember what a big deal O.J. Howard was in college? This dude it comes back and, do they get better?
Yeah, I'd want to keep Shaq Barrett. I want to keep Ndamukong Suh, too, by the way. That's just me.
Might be able to.
Yeah. All I know is this got me thinking about New England and their decisions. Tim Hasselbeck, always good to see you, sir. We will talk to you soon. Have a fabulous day and a wonderful weekend. When we come back here on First Take, we've got more quarterbacks to discuss. That would be Deshaun Watson. He wants out, but it's no secret the Texans think he's still their guy. Should we have a problem with how Houston is handling this whole quarterback situation? We get into